And there we are, live and ready to maybe actually do some animation today. Man, the last couple of streams have not been particularly productive, and I'm hoping that today we're going to make a change in that. And we'll actually make more than like half an animation for once. I'm not entirely sure how much we'll do, because it's been a long day for me. So let's just start with this all right away and see how far in we can get. We have animations, characters, bosses, Reaper. Where did we leave off? I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, we did a change to the character rig, so now we can actually change the position and rotation of the scythe in the hand, which isn't entirely like relevant for most of the animations that we'll do, but I think it's pretty good for this one. I still haven't fixed the weight painting issue either. Don't think that we'll be doing that today either. Other than some other points. That all said though, I'm thinking that for these attack animations, what we maybe want is we maybe want them to be a little bit more like this, right? Because right now, I don't know, it feels a little bit weird that he has almost the bottom of the spine as his feet. It really should feel like he's floating and not like bogged down by gravity and the floor. So I think what we should do maybe is I think this is the entire body control, right? Let's go back into this view. So maybe what we should do is we should, in the backward movement here, we should move the body control to do something a little like this. And again, we'll worry about the weight painting related issue later. We might be able to even do that in Unreal these days, to be honest with you. We'll see. So yeah, and so then when he does that, we're going to get rid of the final keyframe there. So then when he does that, what we can do is we can even do a little bit more like that. And then these ones, we can maybe make them go a little bit more extended like this. So it really feels like he's reaching out for us, you know? There's work to be done. There's definitely room for improvement. But I think that we have something going there. It's a thing that I thought about like earlier this week. We just need this one in particular to have a little bit more like curvature to it, like this, I think. That's what we're looking for. Right, so we got that. I think that makes him feel more fluid and more like he's floating / flying. Also, I still do have RuneScape open. I am very AFK grinding my combat stats. Now that I have the level to do this, which is really, really nice. It still feels like this is a little too static. And that's kind of just what happens when you drive this with forward kinematics, I'm afraid. I don't think there's that much we can do about that, realistically speaking. Like, we can do more like that. But it's always going to feel somewhat static because it is, like, everything else is moving along with that, right? So maybe, like, well, actually, that does probably want to space out those keyframes a little bit to make it a little bit more fluid. But aside from that, I think that might actually be doing the trick. So if we just space those out 1 frame each. Maybe in groups of 2 keyframes, but we'll see. It feels really weird still. But I think that's also because all of these don't actually have any like this rotation to it, right? So if we also add that a little bit more. So in this we want to add like, what the hell? What even? What even? Oh, that might be why. Okay, so this one I don't think really needs that. So that's spine 1. We want to start doing that with spine 2. So that's this one. I think if we add a little bit of like this Y rotation component to it, to all of them, again, spaced out. And we'll worry about the arms in a moment. Because those very much also, at this point, feel just too stiff. That does help quite a bit, I would say. Now, let's make that, specifically like this arm is just kind of stiffly hanging about. Which is not great. Do we even have any keyframes? No, the thing is just not animated to begin with. So, in the backward movement, we just need to keyframe everything at the start keyframe as well. In the backward movement, I think this one needs to pull back quite a bit. And maybe out ever so slightly? I don't know. We'll see. Is that opening up or is that closing down? I think that's opening up, right? It's kind of hard to see when your skeleton doesn't have skin on it. Like that immediately does make it a little better. And then I think around here we should have him also rotate through a little bit. So a little bit something like, I don't know. I'm just kind of messing about at this point. And then the hand like this. That does feel like he's putting his entire body into it a little bit more, don't you think? I think so. Now, his scythe is clipping through the floor. Which might not be ideal. Yeah, I don't think... let's actually like drink a couple of these absorption potions real quick. So that I can just, at this point, AFK until I'm dead. And have gotten a level up soon, seemingly. So yeah, let's fix the whole scythe going through the floor, because I don't think that's particularly ideal on what we want. But that's probably just a matter of manipulating the curves. Because we can do that with the wrist bone here. And if we play around a little with the rotation for those. Which rotation is it? It's a combination of all of them. Grand. Amazing. Let's pull that up a little bit more then. And then keep this one nice and flat, and then maybe... Oh man, this is gonna be tricky. This is gonna be tricky to do right. But we'll get there. We'll get there. We might need to change a value a little bit somewhere as well. I think we might also want to influence this. Yeah, I think that's something that we'll want to change around a little. This needs to go down much sooner. No, those need to be broken up. This needs to go down a fair bit sooner. And then I wonder if the X... There we go. Now, we get into problems there as well, which I don't love, but we'll get to that in a moment. Because I think the last little bit of fine-tuning we do with the shoulder itself might... Like, if we start moving this... no, break these up actually. If we start moving this around a little bit more. No. Which channel am I actually working with at this point? Why does the scale even have a keyframe here? What the hell is that about? The yaw rotation, that's what I want to animate. See, both of these keyframes have the exact same value, but we can still interpolate with a little bit of curves between them. To maybe... I don't think that's really helping much, to be honest. Yeah, no, that's not really helping much. What I want is... What do I want? I don't think the shoulder's really going to do anything, to be honest with you. It's mostly... Okay, so... If we do this... This is the keyframes that we want to... Oh my... What the... That's definitely not what we want. Never mind. That's just me being an idiot and selecting everything. I do still think that this is kind of what we want to be working with. That said, though, yeah, it's mostly the Z. I'll just move this up in its entirety. Pull this even a little bit more. And at this point, I'm kind of tempted to just say, hey, if we move the entire thing up ever so slightly, that fixes the last little bit of clipping through the floor. So let's just do that. Because we do have a keyframe here for the entire body control, which we can just say, hey, you are going to just be ever so slightly higher. And that fixes my problems just like that. Now, there's certainly still a certain amount of stiffness left in this animation, don't get me wrong. But I do think it is significantly better than what I had a moment ago. And that is a good thing. That's a good start. At this point, I kind of wish... We're not going to change the rig, don't get me wrong. But at this point, I kind of wish that I had the spine on like an IK. With... I'm just going to stop this thing from moving. With like... This being the thing links to the full body movement and everything up here being done through IK so that I could make like much smoother curved movements with them without messing about like I am right now. Again, we're not going to change the rig for that, but in hindsight, that might have been better. Let's call it a learning opportunity, shall we? And just move on. Because I do think that these... Okay, now, hold on. I do want to change a couple more things. Oh, that might be why it's still kind of stiff, because all of these also need to be spaced out a little bit more, I think. Oh, and this might mess some things up again. Hold on. Well, at this point, it's just a matter of, it could be a little faster. And I think for this, we also want to space these out a little more. It both could be a little faster and could really benefit from having some more room to breathe in some of the motion here. So if we take all that, like those timings are pretty good. It's just, let's squeeze that down into 30 frames instead of 35. Yeah, I think that's good enough. And this can just go back there. Let's call it good enough for now. Now the thing is, if we're going to do that, we probably should do it for the same thing for the first attack as well, right? Because like looking at that right now, it also looks a little stiff. Then again, making attack 1 and attack 2 a little different in some ways is probably a good thing. So it's probably actually fine. There's actually 2 bits that are not weight painted, I only noticed now. Again, we're gonna try to ignore that and not get overly annoyed by it, which I'm gonna horribly fail at. Also, let me lower my HP real quick again. Level 69, nice. So we're just going to stick with this animation for now, which leaves us with, I think this is the thing that I was working with. Yep. Okay, so that leaves us with the quick attack animation 2 also being finished for now. That means we need a slow attack animation, the dash animation, and the swing from the dash, and then the taunt animation. That at least for the basic rundown of what we need this guy to be able to do. If we think of any other animations that we're missing while we're programming him and testing him, we'll of course have to make those as well. But for now, that's the last animation that we need. You know what is the funny part? The dash animation kind of is the same posture as what we just did with him, like leaning forward and the spine trailing behind. And we just figured out how much of a pain it is to actually pose and animate that. So that's going to be a doozy. But I also think that it's probably the most logical next one to do. Because we have a base for it. So we can just say, hey, copy this one. And we'll call this Reaper Dash. Because we pretty much have the starting pose for that existing in Quick Attack 2. Right, if we just take this frame, which isn't exactly on a frame, because of course it's not. So if we just take this frame as the starting pose, and then everything else can just kind of like bugger off. we probably want to tweak this a little bit, because we don't want them to be quite this bend around, I think. So we probably, like, let's get, no, we do want that actually. I probably want them to be like even more leaning forward, I would say. So that means that we need to, like, at some point he does need to rotate up a little bit though. I don't know when that is. I guess we'll just have to kind of figure it out. I think for this one I actually also want him to... That's actually... no, that's still not great. So maybe we do want to actually construct this pose from scratch. How much dedicated wham do I need for this? Maybe we do want to construct this from scratch, because what I'm thinking actually is what we probably want is for this to be like significantly more rotated down. And every single one of these bones being like just a little bit tilted forward. Hey, that makes a lot more sense to me. If we just, yeah, I think that's better. So what we can do then is like this arm goes back. The hood comes a little bit more up so that he's looking at where he's going. That's actually a pretty decent pose, I think. Still, the rotation of the body is like all kinds of fucked. Ridiculously so. But we'll get there. Let's get the arm also in the position that I imagine it would be. That being holding the scythe back behind him. Which also, I don't even know what's up with the positioning of the scythe anymore at this point. Probably just like something like this. I don't know. Seems pretty good. And then the wrist needs to... Okay, if you see this going flying at you, are you going to shit your pants? Probably not, because he doesn't actually have any texture, so he's not terribly intimidating. The thing is, this is another one of those where I'm like, do I actually need to animate him? Or are we going to be fine with just using this as a pose? Because the cloth, and I still haven't tested this out, so if the cloth actually is problematic, I'm in for an issue. But the cloth is going to have simulation on it, at least partly. So that's going to give this thing movement as is. So do we actually need to animate this thing itself too much? I don't think we do too much. We can give him a little bit of like waviness. But we need to have it be subtle, because it needs to loop and it needs to also very easily blend into the actual swing animation, which is going to be using this as its base pose for what I hope are obvious reasons. So I don't think there's going to be like a significant amount of movement to him. At most, we're going to go like 15 frames in. We're just going to move like this guy down a little, and then now we just fucking do something. Like you just kind of alternate the rotation so that there's a little bit of waviness to him. And maybe do a little something like this. The thing is, though, is that I don't want him to feel too much like he is ping-ponging. I don't want him to have like a boomerang animation. But that actually like does feel pretty decent. Partly due to the fact that it still has curves on it, which is really saving its ass right now. I didn't realize that, but I do think that it is really helping out quite a lot. But yeah, this, but slower. So let's extend that to like 60 frames. Yeah, okay, definitely need to, like, whatever that hand is doing there needs to not be doing that. But that's this, probably this. Yeah, so this needs to chill the hell out. Just a little bit more like this, maybe. I can still really feel a loop to it. Which is not great, but maybe if we... You can feel a loop to the entire animation, to be honest, so just this one bone isn't going to make a difference. Yeah, you have that like big ping-ponging effect. That's because we have... pretty sharp, like what was happening is actually I think that this particular this one is a pretty good example of what was happening there. Here we start the animation by going down, and here we stop the animation by going up. So what ends up happening is it kind of creates a sharp peak in the curve. So you want to do the opposite, right? So you want to end this animation going down and then extend that into like roughly the same angle of curve. So you don't get that ping-ponging too much, and it blends a little bit better into itself, just like that. Also, like the tempo of the entire thing matters, of course. And that we just have to do for every single curve in the animation. But for the most part, I think that they're pretty good, at least on this bone. But like every bone needs to do that a little bit better. Again, here we have a curve that should definitely like be working a little bit more like this. And here too we have a curve that should be working a little bit more like that. I don't think these really matter. Spine seems to be doing fine. This one's fine. I think these are also fine. It's pretty flat altogether. It's just the curves that have, like, just the keyframes that have significant curves to them need to be adjusted a little bit more. I don't even know what the hell's up with Spine 2 here, but this is just horrendous what I'm seeing. Hold on. This one. Like, what the hell even, like, is this very sharp dip? we want that dip to be there, but not that sharply. And then probably also make this a lot smoother. There's one particular bone here that works for the entire body more or less, that is like really moving a lot toward the end there, and I can't seem to figure out which one it is. It might be this one. It's certainly one of the ones lower in the hierarchy. So let's make this a lot more subtle. I don't think it's that one, but actually now that I'm changing it around a little more, no, it's not. I think it's around like 3. Okay, this one also could be a little smoother. It surely can't be this one. It has to be one of these, like 5? 6 doesn't even have any keyframes, so surely that's not it. But then when we get up to this is only the neck. So it has to be like one of these. Which one is it? It's probably a combination of a little bit of all of them, I'm guessing. This one's pretty smooth. This one's pretty smooth. I have to imagine it's this one. Except that that doesn't have any keyframes. So it's definitely not that one. I guess we'll just delete them one by one and see if any singular one. I mean, all of them are important to the movement that we made. So we can't actually delete any of them. It has to be this one then. Surely it can't be the arm. Is it just the arm doing its thing? No. Well, I guess what we'll do is we'll copy them all over again, and we will set them all, the entire control rig, select literally everything here, and we say, hey, all of you go back to this. That made it worse. that didn't improve anything. Which makes sense. Which makes sense. So yeah, maybe I should have just made this from the ground up. I'm gonna say that this is fine and just wait to see it in actual gameplay, because it might not be that big an issue. It might not even play for a full second. It might not even loop at all with how quickly the thing is going to be moving. So it could be entirely fine. And I might be wasting time on something that's not actually even going to be relevant. And even then, with the movement of the object as a whole, potential cloth physics added on top of it, any issue that we might see here might also kind of get like overshadowed by those movements. So I'm going to pretend like that animation is also now done. So there we go. Moving that animation into the swing, though, that's gonna be a fun one. That's gonna be a fun one. But hey, we've already made more progress in animations than we did in the last like 2 streams combined. So Surely that's a good thing. Surely I'm doing well. I also had like a very long work day today, so I'm kind of surprised that I'm able to keep focus on this for longer than 2 seconds at a time. Let's copy Reaper Dash and make Reaper Dash attack. Which is going to start out with the same pose. And we're just going to kind of hope that... well, this one doesn't need a loop, so it's not actually going to have that much in terms of problems, I don't think. Because this one just needs to... do something like this. I am not entirely sure, if I'm being honest with you. That's a pretty good movement in. Like, if we add our movement to that, obviously. Yeah. So, oh, I think we're dying. I think we're dying. Finally. It's fine if we die here, by the way, where I am at. So, like, dying is a good thing. Well, that's something you're not going to catch me say too many times. Does this clip into his hand now? It does. We don't want that. We can also move that other hand just out of the way, to be fair. Of course, there's a part where it clips through the ground. We'll worry about that in a moment. I'm first going to set up more of this spine movement, because that definitely needs to be a thing. And we died. So I gotta set up a new place to grind in a moment here in RuneScape. So do give me a second after I've positioned these things. Okay, so for now, let's call that good enough. And how far are we from another defense level? Like an hour away. How long have I been streaming? An hour and a half. Yeah, let's set that up real quick. Well, actually no, because that's going to require me to interact like every 5 minutes, which is going to be really annoying. We'll do something else real quick. Hopefully. Hopefully it's going to be real quick. In the meantime, let's go back to this and start working a little bit on the curves. I do think that this could do with like a little bit more rotation to it still. Maybe the upper body as a whole could do with a little bit more. Well, actually no, this one definitely needs to be... no, not that. It's actually really tricky to properly do with how I have it set up. But this might do the trick. And then we're going to need to set those keyframes back in a moment anyway. So just needed to be a big rotational movement. And I think that does what it needs to do. So, okay, question. Do I have a skills necklace that is not depleted? No, I don't. Is there anything else that I can do real quick? I don't think that there is. Let me just set up another Nightmare Zone real quick. And then we'll get back to animation. My alternative was going for woodcutting, but there I need to interact every 5 minutes anyway, as well. So it actually wouldn't have made a difference. So buy 16 doses of that and like 100 some of this. Pretty much a full inventory. I probably could have done with one more overdose. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Fun animation, isn't it? Me playing RuneScape. I gotta go these levels some way, man. Levels aren't gonna grind themselves. The issue with MMOs is that they're slow as all hell. Upside to RuneScape as an MMO is that it's very AFKable in a lot of ways. So that's personally why I like it, because it lets me play it the entire day without actually playing it. And then when I actually want to play it, I have like all of the stats and I don't need to worry about any other shit. Sure. Okay. So now we only need to do a couple clicks every 5 minutes, which will be fine. Will be fine. Take this, put it at like frame 22, call that the end of the animation, and let's start doing some curvy shit. So first and foremost, which bones actually have most of them? Okay. Body control, spine 1 doesn't. Let's start with body control. For all of these, we're just going to, what was it, 3W? Control W. Which is usually like close window, right? So it's a little, little weird what it does there. But also kind of makes sense. So maybe we can... Okay, so this one definitely needs a little more work to it, because what the hell is happening with this? No, really, what the hell is happening with that? Spine, roll. What is this curve even? That's better. Let's try to at least like keep the tangents flat, because that might save me a little bit of work. If I can make them just longer but still be flat, I think that's going to make my life a lot easier. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Maybe it's actually not going to. Why is my phone playing an ad while I have Dodge Portal open? There's some app on my phone that just sometimes plays ads whilst running in the background, and I don't know which app it is. It's really annoying. Also should be just straight up illegal to do that. I don't know if it is, but it should be. Like, the fact that you can play an ad on my phone, like, at that point you're pretty much a virus, right? Which it might straight up just be. But I really only use this phone to play a couple of games, because I can't be bothered putting them on my new phone, and as like a Stream Deck. So I don't really know how I could have gotten a virus on that particular phone. So it's got to be one of those games, is what I'm saying, which would make sense because they're all like free-to-play gacha games. I don't have Raid Shadow Legends installed on it, before anybody says. Because I sure as hell ain't installing that game until they give me money. Which probably means that I'm not installing that game ever. But hey, if anybody in like Raid's marketing department is watching, I do like money. And I don't have principles, so you can find my contact email in the about page of my channel. I'm going to... Yeah, exactly. I am so good at timing this. It's kind of insane, right? So, this potion runs out in 20-some seconds when I checked it. I've got an internal timer. I've been doing this for like 2 days now. So I've got a pretty good internal timing as to how long this takes at this point. I also have a notify set up for the last 10 seconds in case I do fuck up, but I tend to not actually need it that much. And then we drink again, and it's kind of annoying that the notify sometimes keeps going. So yeah, this one in particular needs to have like a lot smoother of curvature to it, and this one as well. Like this needs to have just all of the curves. This one doesn't matter that much. And then the hand itself. I'm actually just going to keep the hand itself as is, I think. I think we can speed this up, man. I think it's fine if we make this faster, like put this at 10 frames. Because you've had plenty of time to respond to him flying toward you. So this being, well, maybe that's a little too quick. So this being a little, like, faster probably is not that bad of a thing. Maybe make the overshoot particularly, like, more pronounced by doing it this way. You don't really notice the overshoot, to be honest, in this one. Which probably means that I just need the curves to be... that also needs to just blend back into the normal animation. So once it gets... let's put this at 22 frames. And then give it like 4 or 5 frames to blend back into its normal idle pose. Might still be kind of jarring. I think that's pretty good. And that's another animation down. So at this point, we're about an hour in. Wow. But at this point, I think we want a slow attack animation and then the taunt, which yeah, no, the taunt actually does have gameplay relevance, so we'll need to animate it, I think. I was gonna say we probably don't need to animate that until like later on because it's just a little bit of like personality flair, but it's also his like passive state in which you can easily deal damage to him while he does that, so probably need to animate that as well. Okay, let's take quick attack 1 and make slow attack out of this. Slow attack. We'll probably build this one up from scratch though. Now that I think about it, I think it makes most sense to build this one up from scratch. So let's remove everything and just start with a new fresh set of keyframes. So we kind of had this thing last stream or 2 streams ago. At some point in the past, we had this idea, which I'm a little bit ahead of time now. We had this idea that because we had the scythe that couldn't turn around, so it was last stream because we actually fixed that last stream. We would just make the entire model turn around, and then I figured actually that's probably a good move for the animation. Him like doing a flip with a like scythe swing combined. That's probably gonna look pretty badass, or it might look really fucking stupid. It's one or the other, and we're gonna take a risk, and we're going to hope that it looks badass. So, starting position will probably be a pretty neutral pose here. Maybe a little bit bent forward to give him some more room to bend backward for the anticipation of the animation. Right. And then have this somewhat rotated in. Not that much, like we don't want to create any pinching or anything. And maybe even have his head tilted down a little bit. That's not his head. That's his other arm, which we'll also need to do something with at some point. But for now, I think just having this... Honestly, just having this one close to his chest probably works out fine. And then have the hand closed. Can we move all of these at the same time is the question. We kinda can? Maybe? It does make me think that maybe we can make this... there's a little bit of clipping and pinching going on there, but I feel like this is also holding it up at an awkward angle. Angle. Again, it's been a long day, okay? I'm going to make some weird pronunciations as a result, including the one I just did. 15 frames, and then we're going to make one where he leans all the way the fuck back. And during this, we're going to make him invincible. So, like, this whole animation is probably going to take about a second, which is quite a lot. Maybe a little less than a second. But he's going to be invincible during the entire thing. So... And the spacing of the keyframes we'll worry about in a moment. But the idea is that he, like, does not break his elbow, pretty please. But that he, like, really leans into, like, leaning back as well. So... even with his head. I just don't really know... That's pretty good. Yeah, so this definitely also needs to then do something with that other arm. I don't know what. It just needs... something needs to be done with it. For some reason, I feel that he opens his hand while he's moving backward. Do I have any reason for thinking this? No, other than the fact that some motion needs to be happening, otherwise it's going to be stiff as all hell. And since this animation is slower than the rest, that's actually like somewhat relevant. And then with curves, we'll take care of that in a moment. Then now. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll make two poses for this, I think. One pose where he... something like this, I don't know. I didn't really think this through other than, hey, this might be kind of cool. But it might also be like really stupid. And so here we are. Maybe it's a double swipe that he does with it. I don't know, we'll see. I didn't even... Okay, I didn't even mean for the body control to be interpolating from the very start to this moment, but I also actually think it kind of works. So... profit? And then moving through is where we're going to do the actual like flipping part of this, so that'll be... I don't know, something like that. Where he starts to... This might be very messy. This will be very messy. I also don't know how this is going to like interpolate back when we blend out of it, because that might be a problem. Now that I think about it, I hadn't considered that too much, to be honest with you, up until this point. So yeah, that might be an issue. But as he's doing that, I think what we'll do is just move this along a little more, so that there's, again, still a little bit of movement happening. It's gonna need a lot of work to be done. You know what? Actually, those vertices not being weight painted properly is a very good reference point to where the original position of this guy is supposed to be at. So that actually kind of works out very well for me. Hold on, I have a different idea. So what if we, when he's upside down, right, we take this pose instead. It's the pose that we're working with. So we have swing upside down, and then he does one of these. Hold on. In world space. And then he does like one of these, right? What the fucking hell even? Yeah, okay, so maybe he doesn't do that? Yeah, no, maybe that wasn't, no, maybe not. I mean, he still can if we do this on, like, properly in local space. I think we still can make that work. If we then delete this keyframe, maybe. Nah, I don't think we're going to make the flip work, to be honest with you. Let's get rid of the flip for a moment and just do this movement. Because I still do quite like this. Assuming that we can make this a little bit more. We'll get there. At some point, we'll get there. I don't even know what is going on with his wrist at this point. It's not even too bad. It's definitely not good. Could be worse. I feel like this should be almost perpendicular or like parallel to his arm instead of as perpendicular as it is. Like right here it is a 90-degree angle. As he's like loading it up, it should be almost parallel and then back to at this point being honestly just back to 90 degrees. Maybe even a little bit more than 90. Or less, rather. There's not that much like physical room to do that, I don't think. I'm doing this with an actual keyframe now. We'll do this with curves in a moment. I just want to see if this is kind of like, yeah, that seems like about the right trajectory. Okay. The question now, is this significantly different enough from the other animation that we have, aside from just the speed? We have Quick Attack 1, which is that. And we have Quick Attack 2, which is kind of the same animation, right? Just a lot less smooth. Like just a lot worse. Oh, man, I just like I just need an animator. I can't fucking do this shit. I don't know, man. Let's do these curves. Sure. Let's give it a shot, at least. Body control, I think is fine. Spine 1 doesn't do shit. Spine 2, I think is also pretty much fine, to be honest with you. It's mostly the arm that we're probably going to need to spend a lot of time on. There we go. That's a lot of curvature going on. That said, though, I think like a lot of this also is going to need to just have more of this going on. Where it has that little pause moment in its rotation. For like the recentering of their pivot point, the center of gravity. I don't even know what to call it. It's just the little pause moment in the movement. That makes the actual swing more impactful. That one. And the further down the chain we go, the bigger that pause needs to be, because the more rapid the actual movement needs to be. So let's see. If we have some overshoot after that, that's probably not bad. I feel like we could probably do with this one specifically being a little bit more weighted that way. Maybe not. What I think we need to do actually instead is just pull these through a couple frames later. This might be too much. I mean, that's definitely like that. Okay, first and foremost, that is a problem. That is a problem. That's a massive fucking issue. Let's see if we can solve that. That feels like a arm segment 2 kind of problem. Oh, yeah, that's not good. Is that a y-axis kind of thing? I don't think it is. Might be a little, but I don't even know what arm segment really is the issue. Okay, that is definitely part of the problem. That not so much. I mean, the hand itself might also benefit from... That's not what I wanted to do at all. Benefit from a little more of this. Because it's also just jumping around, which is not good. We're getting somewhere. You know how we're going to fix that last little bit? The same way we did before. And that's just by saying, hey, remember that we had this like body control thing? It's going to be up ever so slightly higher. Oh, that doesn't even... Okay, so there's a couple of issues here actually. Number one is that this just needs to be significantly more tilted like this to begin with. So it actually like slashes on a halfway decent plane. Yeah, no, that's just straight up a good animation. Well, for my for my standards, straight up a good animation. I don't want to call it a good animation because that implies that it is anything other than passable at best. And we all know that that would be a lie. So now we just go through and check out, hey, body control will probably leave alone. But at this point, just anything really that has a keyframe at this point, just add in And we're gonna do this like much bigger than we did a moment ago. Like much bigger, as I said, than we did a moment ago. Just because it's a bigger animation to begin with, it's a slower animation, so the movement does need to be bigger as well. I would argue that I have ideas as to what I'm doing, but I wouldn't say that I know what I'm doing, if that makes any sense, right? Like, I understand a lot of concepts about movement relatively well at this point. I'm just not particularly good at implementing them. Which is a quite important step of the process, turns out. Implementing concepts and ideas, because without being able to implement something, you're just kind of fucked. I'll be fine on that one. This one will probably want to change around a little though. That said though, throughout the process of making the animations for this game so far, I feel like I have been getting noticeably better. All of those don't matter. So that's probably a good thing. Don't move multiple at the same time. That's bad. Don't do that. The fact that I'm like actually using curves a lot more now is like a testament to that. That's like a really good start, because it does improve your actual animation so much. If nothing else, just the fact that, I don't know if I did something by doing the wrong shortcut there. If nothing else, just the mere fact that you're not relying so much on spamming keyframes makes cleaning up animations a lot easier. And then there's also the whole idea of specifically for game animation, right? Is these animations can be played back at any frame rate. So if you're interpolating with curves, you're much safer off at any frame rate, I would argue, than comparatively if you're interpolating with, well, not interpolating, if you're just spamming keyframes. Like, it might look good at the 30 FPS playback that you're looking at, but that doesn't mean that's gonna like actually play well. Not to mention the smoothness at different frame rates. If you bake an animation down to having a keyframe every frame in a 30 FPS timeline, there's not going to be a lot of room for a smoother interpolation when you play it back at 60 frames per second, for instance, right? At least that's the theory. I don't know how in practice that turns out. It's probably fine. Because if you bake down something animated in Blender, it's still fine at like 30, 60, 120 FPS. So it probably doesn't matter that much. And you could also argue that spamming keyframes like that gives you like more security in your... Let's just look at the animation like it is right now, actually. I don't know if the hand needs particularly like a lot of overshoot. You know, I think what this needs is just more exaggerated leaning back. Still, like, as weird as that seems, I think that's what this could use at this point. And just also generally everything to do with this set of animations like this set of keyframes rather. Probably could just do with being a little bit longer in their pause. Like just having some pause here in general to begin with, for instance. Although the body control itself maybe not that much. We have like spine 1 doesn't do anything, spine 2. Does spine 2 only animate back and not forward? We'll have to look into that. Spine 3 as well. Spine 4, ooh, that might not be good. That might also be part of the problem, to be honest with you. The fact that they don't actually then move after that. Okay, let's create a bit more pause in these. Yeah, so these are the keyframes that I was looking for. Jedi Mind Trick, these are not the keyframes that you're looking for. Like even this one. Like mostly just a spine that I wanna take a look at. At this point, we're not even really worrying about the spine anymore. At this point, we're all the way down to like, or up to the neck and the head. These don't have any animation. So yeah, what happened with me saying, hey, let's pause some things here? Because that definitely seems to have just disappeared as a concept altogether. I think what happened is me doing the tensions for the overshoot. I think that's what happened. Let's take another look. The body control itself also probably actually... Why does it keep going up? I don't think it should keep going up. At least not that much. Or is that rotation? That's rotation. I'm an idiot. It's not position. Okay, I do think that the swing throw here can be a little slower as well. Again, we're working on the slow attack now, right? So it's fine if that is a little, maybe not that slow. Maybe not. Oh, hold on, I entirely forgot. Fuck. My picture-in-picture also stopped working for some reason. That definitely didn't help. We did come quite far, I think. Let's just try again. And hopefully this time the picture-in-picture will actually work. Maybe. People aren't being very chatty today, are they? Well, which is fine. Like, if you're just here to hang out. It's cool. Totally lit, bro. Let's drink some of these potions, actually. 600. 800. 950. 1,000. And now let's make sure that our picture-in-picture plugin works, so I can get notified What probably happened is it kicked me out because I was inactive for too long. I imagine that's what happened. But our picture-in-picture is working now, so that's fine. So let's see, how does that feel? I probably can just pull this around all the way to frame 40, which means that, in fact, this animation is longer than a second. So that's pretty long. I think we're going to keep it there for now. So that's the slow attack done as well. Which only leaves the taunts, and I really don't feel like doing the taunt animation, to be honest with you, because I don't have many good ideas for it. But this will be the last animation stream for a while, so that's exciting, because next time we'll be back to gameplay ability system stuff, which means we're back to programming, which is great. Well, I've actually been looking forward to doing a little bit of programming again for these guys. It's just like after the long day of looking at code that I've had today, melted my brain. I don't want to see another line of code for the rest of my life. I'll have to do the taunts. What would we even do for the taunts? I don't know. I have no ideas. So that's an issue. That is a real problem. Yeah, I think for now we're actually going to skip out on the taunts, because I just don't have inspiration for it. I don't have any idea what I can do for him. And like effectively, I don't think having that animation or not having it is going to impact the logic of his abilities and his AI. We could make something where he just plays the animation through and then moves to as part of like an ability, and that ability will just be like boss passive. But what we could also do is just have the boss be passive in his idle state for a moment. So I think we're gonna go with that for now, and we'll circle around back to it at some point maybe, and make the animation if I really feel like it's needed. But like if I feel like it's needed at that point, I'll probably also have a better idea as to what that movement should do and what it should look like. So I do think that for now that'll be all the animations we need to do. So let's actually make animation sequences out of them all, because we only have animation sequences for a handful. That being everything up to Quick Attack 1. So let's start making those. Create. Can we open? Do we already have one? Oh, that is Quick Attack 1 that we just opened. Is it? No, we just opened Quick Attack 2. Oh no, that makes sense. We copied over the thing, the thing with the name and the link and the thing. You can search folders, right? So I can just say like Reaper, and it will show me animation sequences. Yeah. So this will be Reaper Quick Attack 2. And then we will also make sure that our RuneScape keeps going, because of course. And that should be that one. Those are going to need to be montages as well. We'll do that in a moment. The dash, I don't know if the dash will have to be a montage. Probably not. It's probably more of like a blend on ball kind of thing. Yeah, because it needs to be able to potentially loop as long as he is dashing toward us. Then again. No. Okay, so what I'm thinking, right, is we have our arena, and this dash will happen when he teleports to like one of, I think, 6 different pillars or 5 different pillars around the arena. And from there, people choose one at random, and from there, we'll say that like this is the player. Okay, wait a second. No, that is maybe confusing. Anyway, this will be the player, and say that he picks this one. He will just dash through to the player. There's also a fountain in the middle there, which I might remove if it ends up being an issue, which it probably will. But right now, it's kind of just there because it looks pretty, but it might be a problem. So we could drive the, like we have the dash animation and we have the attack animation. So we could say that, hey, at the end of the dive animation or the dash animation, move into the attack animation. But we could also say, hey, when you reach a certain distance to the player, so just keep moving toward him until you're at him. Like if you're 100 units away, then do the attack animation. That's the 2 different ways we could go about doing it. I've been kind of operating under the assumption that we would be doing the latter, but now thinking about it, that makes the attack pretty much undodgeable. So maybe this is the way that we should be going about doing things. Which means that we will need to make that a montage. Which also means that the whole thing that we had about the animation looping or not actually just straight up does not matter. All that said though, we're still good to go in RuneScape. Almost level 70 defense, which is going to potentially make this entire activity even more AFK, which is great with a new set of armor. All that said, we need to make an animation sequence out of it either way, so let's just do that. Working so can't stay. Love your videos. Keep it up. Good luck. Thanks, and good luck with your work. I've had a long day of work myself, so I feel you. This will be... Again, we can just look for Reaper, and at least that's a little bit faster this way. Reaper dash. Not to complain about my day at work. Like, I was actually working on a fun video. Just a pretty, like, dense video. So then we have dash attack. Create linked animation sequence. Like that. No. Failed to create asset. That's exactly right. I wish there was, maybe there is. I wish there was a more bulk way of doing this. But I suppose you need to give all of them names, so it really doesn't matter that much. Reaper dash attack. We have that one already, we have that one already, we have that one already, we have that one, slow attack, that one we still need to do. Create linked animation sequence. Give me a moment. Oh, there we go. We're actually going to stick around like for 2 seconds longer here until we're down to 5 HP and lower ourselves back to 1 as well. And then while we have RuneScape open as well, we might as well reset the health regen. Okay. Anime sequence, Reaper slow attack. So the whole thing that we were just talking about is mostly to do with setting up the animation blueprints now, because that's probably the next thing that we need to do is setting up the animation blueprint, and we have to like decide which ones of these are actually going to be implemented in the blueprint and which ones are going to be animation montages, and pretty much all of them seem to be montages. So I think we probably have a pretty like easy task ahead of us. So let's make, we have the dash attack, quick attack 1, 2 and slow attack. We just kind of make animation montages out of all of them. And that should be able to be done in bulk, right? Yes. So we can just move those to the anim montages folder. And we'll probably set up like a slot for those. But first and foremost, now that we've done all that, we're an hour and a half in. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break for like a minute, and then when we come back, we will implement some of the animation montage slots and stuff like that, and then we'll finally be done with the animation part for now. And then on Thursday, we will maybe not have a stream actually, but I'll talk about that later. If we do, we'll start the coding stuff. I'll be back. And there we are again. Did I miss any like RuneScape notifications? I did not. That is fantastic. Okay, so actually now that I'm back here, let me turn on the light as well because it's dark as all hell in here. Sun's going down and stuff. You know how it is. You know how it do be. Okay. Yeah, animation slots for the montages. We'll probably, like most of them are just going to be on the attack montage, and then the dash is probably going to be like on the default slot. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So let's. It looks really goofy. Oh, and then okay. So now we also finally, probably today, are going to get to the cloth sim. The thing that I've been worried about for this entire time. So that's going to be fun. We make a new slot name. How do we do this again? Slot manager. There we go. There we add a slots and we call this attack slots. And we change. The fuck do you mean I'm not animating anymore? My dude? Do we change? Oh, hold on. Need to do a thing. Need to real quick do a thing. Potion up and go back. Okay, so I just changed the wrong thing. That's fine. Then dash montage is going to be on the default slots. The dash attack is also going to be on... Unreal, what the hell? No, actually, I think I just fucked up still. Hold on. Yeah, because now we have a text slot and default slot, so that's definitely like not what I want. Hold on. Yeah, this is montage default group. And I want this to play on the attack slots. Why do you suddenly T-pose? What the hell's up with that? This has never been an issue before. I've never had that happen. Let's go back into his animation blueprints and see if we can do like anything about that. I do like his idle animation though. It looks really dope. Like really smooth. Slots, default slots. And then slots, attack slots. Like, adding this shouldn't make a difference to what we were just doing, but just in case. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Let's fucking put that somewhere. Default group. I'm gonna Google this. I'm gonna Google it. Unreal montage T-pose when changing slots. Play slot animation causes T-pose. Character goes into a T-pose when I play. Yeah, more people are having this issue, which is good. Review your error. I don't... Any errors? No fucking errors to see here, I think. Yeah, no, we would have probably... Oh, I did see a different color. Yeah, no errors to spot here. So, like, that's not a issue. Always check your output log. Yeah, I know. I just did. This is all about like during gameplay. It's not the problem I'm having. I hate this okay, I hate this dude already, right? Like, I get it, because I get a lot of people in my comments like this as well. But here, like, a person has an issue. They just tell him to go fuck himself, pretty much. Right, so... Fucking hate it when that happens. Like... This is... Like, that specifically was Reddit. The Unreal forums are even worse for it. Where you're like, hey guys, I have a problem. And they tell you like, yeah, but... Like... Fix it. Yeah, I'm here to try to find out how to fix it. Oh, I think that did it. Yeah, that did it. Don't know why the hell that was necessary. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, not only do you come across as a fucking shithead toward the person that you're trying to answer, specifically if you're like on Reddit or the Unreal forums, other people are going to come across this post and not be helped by you. Like, you say, Google it. Well, fucking surprise, Sherlock. You are a Google answer now, and not helpful at all. which also means that Google is just like not functioning the way it should be, because that's not valuable information. How does that score high on SEO? Anyway, I think we've got that fixed up now. So, let's move on to the next one. Dash montage can just be normal. Dash attack will be... So now I should just be able to say, hey, slot name, attack slot, and now I don't need to do this for every single one, do I? Link method, relative. Why is that? Yeah, some people are just kind of jerks about it. Mods yeeting threads altogether is really annoying. Like, if they move them, that's fine, right? I can understand that. You want to keep your forum organized. And people who don't know that are posting in the wrong subforum, like, that happens. Because it's a support forum. Like, that will happen. It still is really weird to me. I haven't had to do this before. So moving that into like the proper subforum makes sense. But the moment you start removing it, like, it starts being an issue. But again, if you're not going to be helpful, just don't respond to a forum post. Like, I also see the other side of this problem, right? I also see, like, people asking things in comments of my videos that I've been asked like 20 times before. I'm like, thank you for the engagement, first and foremost. Thank you for the engagement on my video. The algorithm really, really likes it when you do that. But also, like, for your own sake as well, just like scroll down like 2 more mouse movements and read some of the comments on the video already, because there's people who've answered asked the question and already gotten an answer most of the time. And you're going to have your answer a lot quicker. And like 90% of the time, people run into the same kinds of issues. It's very unlikely that if you're having a similar issue, like in outputs, like at least on my tutorials, like very basic stuff, that your cause and solution are going to be different from other people in the comments. So like just read through the comments. So I also kind of get that perspective of it, where they're like, another one of these people who just like doesn't actually think more than like half a step ahead, and just wants their problems fixed for them. Which, hey, if I didn't want those people in my comments on my Discord, I wouldn't be making this kind of content. I like helping people, and I really don't mind it if a question is asked more than once. I really don't. Again, partly for the engagement, but also I really just don't mind it. But it kind of does show and implicates a certain lack of ability to troubleshoot things yourself. And that is an issue if you're making games. Specifically for programming, I would argue most. But for like anything to do with the game engine, for anything to do with being self-taught. If you're self-teaching yourself, you need to be able to like troubleshoot. That's the most important thing. It's like recognizing how to troubleshoot and solve problems. If you're self-teaching, that is the cornerstone of how you learn. Anyway, that was a little bit of a side tangent. But I think it is like valuable that somebody like sometimes actually says that kind of stuff. So there we go. Yeah, I kind of think that that's pretty much all the animation stuff that we have going on today. I don't think we have any more animation stuff to do, so is there anything else we can do? I suppose we can get started on making a blueprint class for him. Do I need to make a C++ class for this guy as well? What did I do for the knights? Let's take a look, because I think I made a separate blueprint or C++ class for him first, just in case I needed to do anything with that. But it's easy to reparent if I end up not needing that. But maybe I have a specific thing for, like, C++ class for bosses. It's been a while. AI, no. Enemies. Characters. Bosses. Knights. That's knights. I think that's it. Parent class is knight boss. C++ class does not have anything that I'm actually using. Let's look at the CPP file. I don't think so. I initially did this because, like, this is like teleport to location with collision check. This is first and foremost should be using EQS and not the stuff that I'm doing here, which is just picking a random spot, checking for collision, and if that spot doesn't work, picking a new random spot. Like, that is actually horrible. I don't do that. I think my current implementation still does the same thing. I really should change that to using EQS. We have appear, warning attack, vanish. All of this has been ported over to the gameplay ability system at this point. So, like, none of this actually... Well, we have a couple of components here for, like, the particles and stuff. But there's no real need for me to set that up in C++, because this is all just getting called from a blueprint anyway in gameplay ability system. So I can just make this... Oh, I have a boss base. Does that have anything relevant in it? Oh yeah, the weapon static mesh, I suppose. And a damage box to go with that. Yeah, that's a couple of, like, and the set trail active for that weapon. Setting up a couple of things in begin play constructor for the components and stuff. Okay, so we probably want to make that blueprint just as of boss base, is what I'm thinking. So we make a new folder. We call that Reaper blueprint class boss base, which will be BP Reaper boss. Okay, here we go. The mesh will be the Reaper boss, which is fucking humongous. We also need to start setting up at some point in the future. Definitely want to do that with snapping on. His textures and update some of the materials in the game as well. Come on, there we go. Probably move you up a little bit. And also make the... Where are you? Where is the collision? Am I just... Oh, capsule component. There it is. Let's drink a couple potions here, and then we'll get back to that in a second. Do we have the maximum now? Yes, we do. Almost level 70. That's actually going really, really quickly. Very nice. It means that tonight maybe I can actually start AFK and with the new method. Capsule components. We want the... What the fuck are you talking about? We literally just did that. It's probably just still the last notify. And we want the radius to be a fair bit bigger as well, I think. So then the mesh can go down again. It's kind of annoying that the radius or the height of the capsule, which I guess it's half height, so it makes sense that it works this way, but that it doesn't just grow from the bottom and go up, but that it scales in both directions. Like, that is actually pretty annoying. Who you call jerks? People in Unreal forums that like take the time to answer, but not to actually give help. Use animation blueprint for the Reaper. This one, right? No. It's this one. There we go. But we're also going to... There was a shortcut for this, like P, Control P. Not Control P. Control Space. Somebody told me there is a shortcut for this. I don't know. We'll figure it out at some point, surely. Weapon static mesh will be the scythe, which is absolutely tiny. And it will automatically equip itself to the proper thing, which is weapon mesh, setup attachment, left sword. I don't know if that's actually his left hand, but we'll go with it for now. I don't actually think I plan any... Yeah, I don't really think I have plans for any particular boss to be two-handed, because the only thing that is two-handed is going to be the dual swords. And the dual swords is going to be a dual boss fight. One guy with a sword in one hand, and the other guy having the sword in the other hand. So, like, any boss fight I have is actually only going to ever have one weapon at a time. So that's a thing. But we do need to give this a... the socket a proper name, because we just called it a weapon, I believe. Like, yeah, we just called it weapon. Needs to be left sword, because there we go. It's fucking huge, but we can fix that. Yeah, that pretty much will do it. And we can move it around a little bit to actually get it like in the hand. For the most part, I think that's pretty much it. So if we now unpause those animations. Like, you gotta be honest, that does look pretty dope, doesn't it? Like, I kind of like that. I still don't like the fact that I haven't cleaned up these elements yet. But I don't know if a material is on a mesh but doesn't actually like have any geometry that it is applied to, does it even render? Like, does that have any overhead? It just existing? Probably better to get rid of them either way. Which really, the artist that made them should have done that. But here we are. I can fix it up. It's not that big a deal. But like, it's more of a like a principle thing. Like, why didn't you just delete the things when you were done with them? Because I know how it happened. I know what happened there, right? What happened is that this purple was a material and this blue was a material, and because it was all done in Blender, and then it got all baked down into a texture map, and then the texture map was applied to like a Model Y material, but the original materials weren't deleted. And that's a little annoying. But it could also be nice to have all the procedural things still there. I don't know if I actually have the blend file. I think I only got an FBX, so never mind. Like the one big upside to all that, I don't think I actually have. That's pretty decent. Why do you not have your trail particles? You should have those, right? Weapon trail. Weapon trail... Oh, gets attached on begin play because freaking reasons. Weapon trail, there we go. I think I just have a like scythe weapon sword. What did I call it? We can figure that out pretty easily because we have scythe blueprints. Yeah, no, I've done it before. I don't really do it anymore now that I do most of my texturing in Substance Painter. Because the workflow is just different. You don't do it that way anymore with like separate materials in really the same way. You still could, but then you'd have to like bring them back into Blender and bake them down in Blender again. It will be even more bothersome to do. So I don't really run into that issue anymore, but I've definitely done it in the past because that's the workflow. I think that is the most relaxed workflow to do if you're doing your texturing inside Blender. It just does require you to pay a little bit of attention to like actually delete the materials when you export it, because again, I'd have to do a little bit more research into this, and I really don't feel like doing that. But I also imagine that like when Unreal sees, hey, this material exists but isn't actually applied to any geometry, that it just ignores it, right? Also, why does Digital Creation keep retracting their messages? What the fuck is up with that? Anyway, weapon trail is P-Trail. What a fucking amazing name. And then I have to probably like set the color in there, right? Because we have like on begin play or something. No. Oh, that's begin overlap. Yeah, on begin play. There we go. So we have set color parameter on the weapon trail. So we'll do that on begin play. Set color parameter on this thing. Neat. Let's actually... Oh, it's not applied to... Yeah, no, that makes sense. User parameters trail material? Oh, we also need to set that, do we? Or do we just not use that anymore? I think we don't use that anymore, so we should probably get rid of that. Because that could be confusing, as you just saw, because it confused me. Oh, no. Oh, fuck me. Well. Also, why is nothing attacking me? We gotta wait until we're back at over 50 HP, which I guess means that we're just like regenning a little bit more. 2 times restore rate for all stats except hit points and prayer, which is just... Oh, it's special as well. I was going to say, which is just run energy, but it's also special. Yeah, so we just hang out a little bit until we're back above 50 HP. Let's put this guy into a level to see what he looks like in person. So we have the Reaper boss, which is like significantly small now. We'll probably actually make him bigger than it is right now. Maybe. We'll see. Let's crash Unreal. Activate enemy. Boss base 33. Oh, that might be a problem. I don't know why that would be a problem. Yeah, I'm a little confused about that, but it's been a while since I've looked at that code, so probably requires a little bit more like intensive reading up on that. I just hope that I didn't lose too many assets. I think I did a save all a moment ago, right? I think. Maybe. Potentially. Possibly. How close are we to level 70? Really close now. Okay, cool. Going through a lot of absorption potions because of this now. It didn't ask me if I wanted to restore any assets, so that's a good sign. I know what we'll do. What we'll do is... What branch am I even on? Have I not merged it yet? Oh, doesn't matter. Apparently I'm on like a weird branch, or I haven't merged something or whatever. Because I only have a handful of like... I worked on the next dungeon last weekend, but I made way more than just these three levels, which are like somewhere like over here-ish, I'm sure. Maybe. Somewhere. At some point. Maybe we'll see them. Maybe we just need to reload them. There they are. Like, there's just these three at the moment, but I made like way more than them. No, there's also this one actually. But still, I made pretty much like the entire dungeon. So that must be somewhere in another branch, or I fucked up a merge and I need to look back into that at some point. Anyway, does not matter. I don't know if that's gonna fuck things up, the fact that I moved up. But we'll worry about that later. What I want to do is I want to move my like workspace to, let's just say, level 1 opening room, which is this one, right? Yes. We're gonna save everything, and then in our blueprints, no, we were in the right folder actually. You can tell that my brain is like stopping any like regular functioning at this point. Because probably like just caffeine running out, to be frank with you. Oh, hold on. We're at over 50 HP again, so we can do this. And we're also at level 70 defense. Fucking hell yeah, that's the thing that I was looking for. This is very loud, I'm sorry about that. Let's go into that door over there. It still crashes the game. Why? Activate enemy. Is a function that I made. Probably shouldn't have clicked it away, to be honest. My brain is not up to bug fixing at the moment, so don't expect me to actually fix this on stream today, because I'm very unlikely to. But let's crash it one more time on purpose to get the arrow back, because that might show me something about what the issue is, and maybe I can just spot it anyway. No, because the thing doesn't exist in this level at the moment. Opening room, Reaper boss. So we have also activate. Let's just turn that off because that's, I think, but that's not the wall that I added, is it? No, that's just that's like, let's start active, because that's got to do with the thing that I actually added in. Auto activate is a Unreal Engine thing, not a me thing, which means that it's probably a lot more sensible. And probably is just like a better implementation of the thing that I was trying to do. Okay, so activate enemy. Enemy, like somewhere there's like a fucking null pointer thing going on, I think. So let's try to take a look into this. We have activate enemy in enemy CPP 121. So we have somewhere in here, surely. Enemy CPP 121. So that is he doesn't have an AI controller? Spawn particles. Oh, that might be it. So let's check if spawn particles is valid first. That's the wrong kind of brackets. I don't know. Again, my brain ain't braining at the moment. Let's read through the rest as well, just to be sure, because we have so we have ground enemy base 31, which presumably calls this one, right? Also, like, it's the get controller. It seems like he doesn't have an AI controller. Could that be? Or is it something to do with the fact that he's trying to run a behavior tree? It's the fact that he's trying to run a behavior tree, I think. Man, this code is bad. Holy shit, I fucked that code up so bad. Yeah, I'm guessing it might have something to do with that instead. No, because the behavior tree should run from the controller, right? And if it doesn't have a custom controller, that shouldn't be the issue. So what's that line 92 here? Get ability system component, give ability, revenge ability. Again, that is a if revenge. My God, Copilot. What the fuck do I even pay you for? We should just set up a revenge. Oh, we don't even have an animation for a revenge ability, do we? But I don't know that we need one for this boss fight, which is another like very good reason for like this to be in there. So we've looked at all of these. I think we're pretty much good to go. So let's build that. It's probably still going to crash. I want to point out, like, that probably didn't fix the issue. It might have just moved the issue elsewhere. Or revealed another issue, is really what I should be saying. Because it didn't move an issue. It's just like not actually setting up the proper boss fight and then trying to spawn it in is kind of fucking me. Which, on the one hand, is fair. Because set up your damn shit before you try to like run it, right? On the other hand, it just reveals how actually bad the code is. But hey, look at it from the bright side. This is already like the third rework of a lot of the code. So this is actually like the good version of all this. And it's still bad. So I suppose that's the downside to learning as you go, and if I may say so myself, learning relatively quickly, is that even code that I like wrote 3 months ago, maybe like 4 months ago, 5 months ago at this point. Anyway, when I was making the first boss fight, that's actually been like more than half a year. Never mind. You look back at it and you're like, what the fuck was I doing there? Like, that doesn't make any damn sense. Like, that's bad. Like, don't do that. Yeah, see, it still crashes. Does it crash with different arrow codes though? No, it's still the same arrow. I'll look into that later. I really can't be asked to do that right now. Because right now what we're going to do is we're going to end the stream and I'm going to maybe do a little bit more work. I don't know, maybe a little bit, like a bit. Again, a big project that needs to be worked on, which also might impact the stream on Thursday. I'm going to try to make it on Thursday. But I've got like a few things going on that all need to be like done this week. So I might be like spending a few evenings on either making like last minute notes for the next podcast episode, which is being recorded this weekend, or some work projects. I need to somewhere in there also squeeze in editing time for the devlog that's going to go up in like a week and a half, 2 weeks ish, the first Monday of May. And there's literally 12 hours of footage for that one. I mean, I was there when it was recorded, so that helps. But still, 12 hours of footage to use in an edit means that you're just going to be looking for specific clips for longer than if you had only like an hour of footage or specifically recorded the clips for the purpose of the video. But the video is me spending 12 hours straight working on the game. So I just recorded that entire process in segments of like 30 minutes or an hour and a half, which means that the editing is also going to be a little bit slower. So there's like a lot going on this week and weekend and maybe going into next week. So I'm going to try to make it on Thursday for the stream, but there is a pretty decent chance that we have to skip out on Thursday, in which case I will see you all back next week on Tuesday again, where we'll actually be tackling the AI for this guy, at least the start of the AI for this guy, which is going to be like another couple of streams working on that surely. But until then, it's been a good one today. We actually made some progress in the animation department, which is great. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.